Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to Sports Time HQ. I am your host, Fernando. Joined with me today is my great co-host, Gary. Gary, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
You know, I'm doing good. Can never complain. It was a good week, though. A lot of high-scoring games.
Yeah. I personally have to say that I won one fantasy week this week by 1 point, and then I won another one by, I want to say, like 3.5. So I won 2 games this week by combined like 4 points. So it was awesome.
Those are the greatest wins because you're also off your seat trying to nail biting. Like you don't know whether or not you're going to win. And then you end up with the victory. I had actually a brutal week in my leagues. In all my leagues except for our listener league, that is the only league now I am undefeated in.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm 1-1 in a lot of leagues.
I think I'm undefeated in like 3 weeks, maybe. Yeah, three. So
Three?
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay so far.
That's not bad then. That's not bad.
Yeah.
I think the listener league was the farthest I got until I lost the very end, which is never a good time, you know.
Right.
But we got some news, notes, and injuries to talk about. A lot of injuries, in fact, that came within the last 24 hours. But let's first start with the NFL news. Chiefs are 0-2. That's always a great thing to have on our notes list. This is Mahomes' now third straight loss, and it's his first time in his career that he has lost 3 straight.
Yeah, I saw that was dating back to what, Texas Tech or high school. I can't remember, but it's dating back prior to the Chiefs. So that's a crazy stat. But I mean, to me, it makes sense. We're not used to Chiefs losing 3 in a row, especially with fully healthy Patrick Mahomes. So some unfamiliar territory for the Chiefs.
And this is also dating back to last year's Super Bowl because obviously we've only played 2 games.
Right.
So this is obviously, and what better way? They have three-peated. It's official. They've three-peated in losses, 3 straight losses. And what better way to do it to lose to the Eagles once again?
Yeah. No, that was a good game though. I don't know how much you caught of it.
No, I watched it. Whole thing. I watched the fourth quarter anyways.
That was a good game. Controversial game, maybe. I'll just throw that out there. But,
I did hear there was some controversial calls in that game that happened.
Yeah. Tush push is going to be a topic of conversation yet again.
Oh, we know that for a fact. It was.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, if it's not broke, then don't fix it, right? But clearly a lot of the league is starting to hate on tush push because we're seeing a lot more teams now do it. If it was just the Eagles, I think it would have been okay. But now that we're seeing a lot of teams use it and it's working successfully for most, we're going to see this go into the winter meetings, and we might see it go banned.
We'll see.
They could ban. I don't think they should ban it. I think it's just a play that they figured out, and I think the defenses need to figure out how they can stop it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a play that a team just so happened to figure out on their own, and like you said, the whole NFL is trying to exploit it now, pretty much. So, if you really were trying to ban it before, then I think you're going to try to, or I think you can't really try to ban it now because, it's every team now is trying to exploit it. So you can say what you want about the tush push. I personally don't like it, but that doesn't mean that, I think it's a cheap play, but I don't think it's worthy of being taken out of the league because they're able to do it successfully.
See, I agree in a sense in that way because I do hate that. Like you see them lining up for a tush push, any team now. Like
you just know it's going to happen.
Yeah, you just know. I mean, I think it was the Vikings who did the tush push that made it unsuccessful. I know there was one team that tried this weekend that I saw that was unsuccessful. Obviously, that's going to happen, but the percentage of it not happening to happening is the reason why it is consistently always happening on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, and like to win the game. I mean, even last night with the Chargers, I mean, they need to try and get out of the end zone.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah,
a push play.
yard line. Yeah, that was
It was
crazy.
a touch push. And you know what? You still can't stop it. You know it's a touch push. That's the problem. You know it. You just can't stop it.
The one thing now is like the fact that I don't know if you saw these guys are like false starting every single time they do it for the Eagles. At least that was during the Chiefs
I did
game.
see
But
that. I did see
yeah,
that.
there was probably like 3 or 4 instances, at least towards the end of the game, where some guys false started on the offensive line,
Mm-hmm.
and their helmets are way beyond the length of the ball or wherever they're supposed to be, with this like new rule that they like made last year as to where you have to line up a certain like with behind the ball or
Yeah.
something like that. So a lot of people were coming to the defense of the Chiefs for the first time, saying refs are against them. Who knows? But yeah, there are definitely some ticky tack plays there that I think could have gone the other way, and I think that's why now the tush push is going to be a topic of conversation again, because they just they're doing it right, but it's like they're kind of finagling it now. They're really moving
we
out.
might see the referees actually in, like, I'm sure they're going to talk about it in their meetings, of course, every week.
Yeah.
But I think they're also going to mention that now and be like, we need to really focus in, because it's not like it comes out of surprise. However it is, it's going to be a tush push when they line up, depending on the formation. You just know it. So
exactly,
we'll have to watch out for that. More on Daniel Jones. He is 2-0 as a Colt, and the Giants are 0-2. And fun fact about the Colts is they have yet to turn the ball over and punt.
Wow. I did not know that, but that is absolutely insane. I mean, talk about career resurgence, right? I mean, I don't know whether or not I believe in it yet, but we're 2 weeks in and he looks unstoppable, which is
Baker
crazy to
Mayfield.
say. Yeah, no, that's for sure true. But I mean, I feel like
Sam Darnold.
I feel like we at least were shown flashes with Baker. Daniel Jones, I don't know if I can necessarily say that. I don't know. I don't ever think he was that good of a player.
I didn't
But
either.
that's up for that's just my opinion. But so far, from where we stand right now in time, Daniel Jones is playing the lights out. And let's talk about the Giants. I mean, that game was crazy, right? I mean, they should have won that game. Should have, would have, could have. But that game was nuts. And at least they gave us a thriller.
Yeah, a good cinema on the NFC East showdown, 40-37 final score. I did not expect that to be the final score. I expected more of a low-scoring game.
Yeah.
I think I had like a 24-20 or type of game.
I was going to say 24-14 or something like that.
Yeah. I knew it would be close because it was an East rivalry match. But again, I'm just shocked. I mean, Daniel Jones should have been the one to text his punter that he won't be punting that much. I tell you that, not Caleb Williams.
That's nuts. That is absolutely nuts that they had not found yet. I can't believe that.
Caleb Williams does not look that great either.
No.
Speaking of the Colts and the Bears, let's go on to the undefeated teams so far in the AFC. There's only 4 teams left. It is the Bills, the Bengals, the Colts, the Chargers. 2 teams that come to mind out of this is unfortunately the Bengals and, of course, the Colts, that I believe will be the first ones to lose a game. Obviously, we'll talk about the reason for Joe Burrow, but obviously the Bengals are in desperate need of some type of future with the offensive line, because that's just, it's brutal on top of brutal.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to like keep your guy around, then you
that
got
you
to keep
paid
him on his
millions of
feet.
dollars.
Right, exactly. And that's why, like, I just have to. When I was saying the Patriots have to draft Will Campbell, and so far he looks kind of shaky, but he's a rookie who's 2 games in. I mean, I'm not going to go too crazy on him, but what I'm trying to say here is you gotta start somewhere, and that's on your offensive line. And when I say you have to start somewhere, I'm not really talking about the Bengals, because they started already with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Like, they have, and T. Higgins, they have an outline. Chase Brown too. The defense is bad, but your number one priority right now, after signing all these guys, is keeping them healthy. And the one way to do that is get a real O-line. And this has been their problem for years now. So I honestly don't know if they're ever going to be able to figure it out. And maybe a hot take, but No, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that.
No,
I'm
let's
gonna
hear it.
I don't
Let's
want
hear
to
it.
say it.
Let's hear it.
No, I was just thinking to myself, like, if you're Joe Burrow, right, and like,
Hmm.
I don't know when you think enough's enough. And it's just like, when do you possibly think of getting yourself out of the situation? But at the same time, they've given him the best wide receiver duo in the league. So it's not like they're giving him nothing.
Yeah.
So
If I am correct, he is still just about with $109 million in guaranteed money of injury guarantee money.
mhm.
I think after the next 2 seasons is when they can fix that up. But still, I mean, he's not going anywhere, at least for now, unless he gets traded, which we know that won't happen. But I mean, it's just injuries after injuries after injuries. It's crazy how many injuries we've seen so far.
Mhm.
I was trying to pull up a stat, but I can't actually find the stat. But maybe it's on my main. It was on Instagram. I think ESPN or Bleacher Report might have actually sent it. But if you compare Joe Burrow, who is another guy that comes to your mind that has had an amazing career, but through injuries had to retire early?
Oh, Andrew Luck.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
I can't believe I cannot find this dang thing, but uh, they put both Joe Burrow and Andrew Luck side by side.
Mhm.
Joe Burrow's been sacked more times than Andrew Luck, but also you see the history with Andrew Luck, and he had to retire early because he just
Yep.
kept getting hit and hit and hit, and we knew how good of a quarterback he was. Now go to Joe Burrow. He's again got some weapons. He's got everything for him. It's just the offensive line has really hurt them, which makes me question maybe are we going to move on with the head coach, general manager, anything along those lines, maybe?
Maybe. I mean, they got to make some kind of change because, like I said, this cannot keep happening.
No.
I mean, he's still young, but I don't want to say he doesn't have a lot of years left. But if we're being honest, who knows how many years he does have left? Because if he keeps getting injured like this, God forbid something really does happen.
Yeah, and we already know he's going to miss 3 months,
Right.
which we'll mention the
Possibly
injuries,
more.
but possibly more. Some other undefeated teams now in the NFC. We got 6 teams: the Eagles, the Niners, the Cardinals, the Rams, the Packers, and the Buccaneers. All fairly strong teams. But again, quarterback injury with Brock Purdy and the 49ers. They got Mac Jones. And then the Cardinals. Out of these teams, I think the Cardinals are the weakest, maybe even compared to the 49ers because they have Christian McCaffrey. But Cardinals, they have James Conner, okay. Christian McCaffrey beats them. Kyler Murray's been up and down, but he's been somewhat decent. And Marvin Harrison, we still don't know how good he's going to be, but he has been doing a lot better than last season, I will say.
Well, week one at least, yeah. He had like
Yeah,
5 for 71 on a touchdown, and last week he only had like 2 catches for 27 yards, which is
he's your
crazy.
guy. He's your guy.
Well, I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, like it just doesn't work. Like I've had enough. Honestly, we're only a year and 2 weeks in, so as a executive standpoint for the Cardinals, you can't say that you've had enough. But me personally, as a fan of Marvin Harrison Jr., I've had enough. I can't stand watching. I actually want to bring up a stat now that I'm thinking of it, but I can't stand watching Marv not get targeted the whole game. And then when he does get targeted, it's a pass thrown over his head or he's double teamed. Now I saw a stat on PFF that said Marvin Harrison Jr. has and this is in his rookie year, so I'm not counting the last 2 weeks, had
Mhm.
114 targets last season, which is 19th most in the NFL. Of those
Mhm.
114 targets, 40% of those targets were deemed uncatchable by PFF.
Wow.
And
It
people
goes.
want to call him a bust, say, he doesn't he's never open. I mean, like what are you supposed to do when of
There's.
course, of course, me personally, I don't know what these uncatchable balls like really look like, but I watch the games. So I definitely have an idea of what some of them look like because
Mhm.
like I said, he doesn't get targeted all game, and then when he does get targeted, it's way behind him, over his head, or he's double teamed. So I have a genuine idea of where those targets are coming from. And off the top of my head, I don't know what 40% of 114 is, but that's a pretty big chunk. I mean,
Yeah, it is a big chunk. And I mean, that goes to the problem with Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Is Kyler Murray too short to see over his offensive line?
Maybe.
Or is he just not what we think he was supposed to be in the NFL?
Yeah, I don't know, but this offense is not run through Marvin Harrison Jr., which sucks because I still think he can be a top talent in the NFL, and I think he is a top talent in the NFL. But unless something changes, he won't be able to show that.
But isn't wide receiver known to adapt to any situation?
Yeah, and I mean he's still young, right? Like he's still only 2 weeks into his second year. Like I will give him till next year. If nothing changes, then I don't know. I think he either needs out, or maybe he just isn't as good as we thought. Maybe he just isn't as good as I thought.
How about Travis Hunter? Is it just me, or has he been like more under the radar so far, and not many people have talked about him?
I haven't really heard about him. I'll be totally honest with you. I really haven't seen anything with Jags games yet, so I'm not going to act like I've seen him do anything. One thing I do know is that I was a big advocate for him being a corner over a wide receiver.
You were.
To my knowledge, he has not been that. He's been more of a wide receiver first. I think at some point maybe they should have him just mainly focus on one, and still run him out there on the offense. But I want to see him get more reps on the defensive side of the ball.
In fantasy, Travis Hunter has scored 14.5 fantasy points in 2 weeks, and that is also on 14 targets.
Wow.
He only caught 50% this past week, and then he did catch 6 of his 8 targets week 1, which still didn't eclipse double-digit points, which is not what you want to see. Let's go on to the winless teams now, and some winless teams, a lot more for the AFC than the NFC, not by much, but winless teams: the Jets, the Dolphins, the Chiefs, the Browns. Sorry, Gary, and of course the Titans. I must say, the Dolphins out of this pack has looked absolutely atrocious. They have not looked good whatsoever.
Well, I think they looked good against you guys. Okay, at least. I mean, their offense is clicking again. It was way better than it was against the Colts. And, it was shaky at first, but they were able to put up, 27 points? 27 points or something like that?
Yeah, 27.
So the offense is there. And I would argue that they looked better than us. And I would argue that they looked better than the Titans. So, in my opinion, they are the third worst team here. I'd say the third worst team here. I think us and the Titans are – you can debate whoever's worse, but I think we're the undeniable bottom two, in my personal opinion. And obviously the Chiefs here are the best. There's, obviously an outlier here, and they won't be here for much longer. But I definitely can't say the same about, a couple of the other 4 teams that are here.
Yeah, I think out of every winless team, the Chiefs are the outlier. I mean, we'll go into the Giants, the Bears, the Panthers, and the Saints. Panthers and Saints, we kind of know was going to be around the bottom tier teams again this year. Giants, a little bit of a question mark with Russell Wilson. Will they keep Russell Wilson? Will they move to Jameis? Will they go to Jackson Dart? And the Bears are just the Bears. I still don't believe that Caleb Williams is the answer.
I'm still a believer. I think he's shown flashes so far this year. The whole team has to put it together. I mean, the defense is hurt right now. And that is true. Obviously, that loss to the Lions last week is inexcusable. Obviously, it's the Lions, and they're going to put up points no matter what. But 52-21 or whatever it was, that's kind of absurd. Like I said, I think they just got to put it together at some point. They're hurt right now. I still believe in Caleb Williams. I still want to believe in Caleb Williams. They have the talent to be a good team. I'll tell you what, though. How about Rome Odunze?
Yeah, Rome Odunze stepped up. DJ Moore was nothing this past week.
And he really hasn't been. I mean, he got hurt towards the end of last week, whatever, but he came back for that one, stupid hook and ladder play, which I don't know why he came back for that. I thought he was seriously hurt for a little bit. But Adunze had like 46 points in 2 weeks so far, so he's looking pretty good.
He is. Loveland hasn't been much of a factor, and
nothing, absolutely nothing.
I mean, but we knew that was going to happen. I don't know why people were so adamant that he was going to do good.
We knew it was going to happen. Like, me and you. I don't know. I don't understand why people thought that he was going to just immediately come in and be some star on this offense. Again, another Michigan player that just got overrated. I can't believe that he was taking over Tyler Warren. I mean, that's crazy to me.
Tyler Warren should have been the number one guy. Darren in the chat saying, hey.
What up?
What's up, Darren?
What up, Darren?
Let's go into the injuries, and we have a number of injuries, especially for the quarterbacks. We already kind of gave you a preview of Joe Burrow, but he is set to miss 3 months with a grade 3 turf toe. Now, obviously, that does mean that he's not going to be coming back until probably December, and that's if everything goes according to plan. Jake Browning is expected to start, which he did lead the Bengals to a win. Finishes QB 14 against Jacksonville, 20.74 points. I do want to mention that he was the starter in 2023 when Joe Burrow went down as well. In weeks 12 through 18, he finishes a top 10 quarterback in fantasy at 5 of his 7 games that he played that he started. There was the first game in week 11, I believe, but that was when he took over for Joe Burrow. They did sign, though, from the practice squad, Brett Ripien. That is just to have a second quarterback there in depth. But I do believe Jake Browning is going to be the guy moving forward for the rest of the time that Joe Burrow is missing. Fine.
Yeah, and that's, of course, assuming that he can stay healthy, right? I mean, that would be crazy. But I think Jake Brown is debatably the best backup quarterback in the league, to be honest with you.
I must say, I have held on to him in my Dynasty League since 2023. It's a deep league, 12 teams. In my Dynasty, I've held him every single time. I actually thought about it, I think, either last week or the week before, because I really needed to open up spots. And I almost dropped him, and my gut was just saying, nah, just keep him. You know he might be good if he's there. But yeah, I agree. I think he's the best handcuff quarterback.
Yeah, I probably would agree with that. And that's why I'm not really so high on like looking to move Jamar Chase. I know a lot of people are kind of already looking at that option when we're 2 weeks in, and I get it. Your guy goes down. I mean, Joe Burrow's debatably the best quarterback in the league, in my opinion. And he goes down, but like I said, this guy is, in my opinion, probably the best backup in the league. And Jamar scored a touchdown with Browning, no?
Yeah, he did.
No, was it?
I thought so,
remember. I can't remember. I could be wrong, actually. I think it was with Burrow. But Browning threw a touchdown to somebody, and he looks good. Like, he looks good to close out the game. So I'm really not worried about Jamar Chase's status at all.
Yeah, and Jake Browning right now, shocking. Not shocking at all, though. He is 0% rostered, so he is going to be a top waiver wire out of the week. And I do believe that he should be the top quarterback out of the week because of the fact that Jake Browning is going to be there for a long-term period. And with the amount of talent that is surrounding him, he's got the talent in the world to succeed. He's already in the top 32 for quarterbacks in fantasy, which isn't that hard to do, but he is 31, QB 31 after 1 week.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He did throw 3 interceptions, which is a concern.
I was going to say, he threw 3 interceptions, but he still put up 21 points in 2.5 quarters. So
I do want to run down quickly the Bengals' next few matchups. Minnesota and Denver are going to be tough ones on the defense. So again, that is something that is concerning. So I don't know if you'd want to start him the first week, but again, if you are in desperate need of a quarterback, I would start him. But after that, I mean, they don't have a tough matchup for defensively for fantasy quarterbacks. Detroit, who we know defense is up and down. Green Bay, okay, they have looked very good, very solid. But Pittsburgh, the Jets, Chicago, they go on a bye. Then they go to face Pittsburgh again, New England, Baltimore, Buffalo, Baltimore, Miami. I mean, he should be putting up 18, 20 plus points a week.
Yeah, I agree. And I'll be honest with you, as we're speaking, I'm looking at his availability in my leagues and trying to finagle a way to get him on my roster.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you need him. If you're in a spot, then you need him.
Yeah, we're giving you 3 quarterbacks to add this week. Jake Browning's number 1. Let's go on to some other quarterbacks. Justin Fields, he's being evaluated for concussion. I think this is just something to monitor this week. Usually they take a week to be cleared, but I think he should be able to suit up. Quarterback JJ McCarthy, God tier quarterback. He is unlikely to play week 3 with a high ankle sprain. And I will say JJ McCarthy did look sloppy this past week. He did look sloppy, but I will say though, it is not entirely his fault. His offensive line is just like the Bengals, absolutely atrocious. I mean, he was getting pressured almost every single play. I think the Falcons had like 6-7 sacks on the night, maybe more, that I maybe missed. And again, if you don't protect your quarterback, you're going to end up like Joe Burrow and Andrew Luck. And the God tier quarterback, JJ McCarthy, might be
so
not
bad.
playing.
He's so bad, man.
It did look bad. It did look bad.
That was bad. I mean, listen, here's the thing, right, with JJ McCarthy. I mean, you could say what you want about week 1, and you could say what you want about his offensive line. I agree with you to an extent. The offensive line did look bad. And
do you agree that he's God tier?
Absolutely not. No. No, I agree with you. The offensive line did not look great, especially at times. And that's a big part that I think people miss, right? Like, that's a big reason why we've kind of struggled the last couple of years. Granted, our quarterbacks have not been great, but I watched Joe Flacco get stuck in the turf, how many times? Granted, he can't move a lot, but he doesn't have a lot of time to throw. That's just me, of course, bringing my team into it. But JJ McCarthy, when I'm like thinking about it, man, you may think that he's had one good game, one bad game. I see it as he's had 3 bad halves, 1 good half football.
Yeah.
So,
I can attest to that.
So far, I've not liked what I saw from JJ McCarthy. Like, I've seen really bad bats. I'm giving him a chance, man. Listen, like I said, we're only through 2 weeks, and I can't really make a full thought on JJ McCarthy until we're a couple of years in. But so far, he has not looked good.
Yeah, I can attest to that. But again, offensive line problems too. A struggle. Jaden Daniels, he suffered a knee sprain this past week. Again, this is something to monitor this week for a lot of you Jaden Daniels fantasy managers. He could miss week 3. Right now, his status is in doubt. So, again, that is something to monitor because that is another big quarterback who gets you a lot of fantasy points that could be out in week 3 as well.
Yeah, that's definitely a big one. I thought when he went down the first time that he wasn't going to stay in that game.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be taken right out immediately. Stayed in, showed a lot of heart, and you could definitely see he was limping throughout the rest of the game. So you could tell something was bothering him. But we'll just keep it short and say hopefully he's able to come back next week.
Yeah, exactly. Something to also keep short is Josh Allen. He is going to wear a clear visor to protect his nose in week 3. Had a bloody nose. Alongside the Vikings injuries, Aaron Jones, he's going on IR. He's set to miss at least 4 weeks with a hamstring injury. Jordan Mason, I think he's over 70% owned, so we couldn't talk about him. But Jordan Mason, if you were able to get him during the drafts, he's going to be your starter. Didn't do that great the first 2 weeks, but again, he did have Aaron Jones ahead of him. But Jordan Mason is the clear-cut number 1 back right now. He is 84% owned in leagues.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing with the offensive line, right? He just hasn't really been able – they as a team haven't really been able to run the ball that well. They haven't really as a team been able to do anything well. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm at my wit's end with Hawkinson, and I don't think it's necessarily.
It's so sad.
I don't
I
think
like
it's
Hawkinson.
necessarily all of his fault. Granted,
No,
I did see a video of him running a route, and he looked fairly slow. But
bad. Yeah.
um, I see numerous times where he's open, and Ginger McCarthy just doesn't get him the ball. So
I thought he
it's
was
kind of
going to be
not
the
what I
safety
expected.
blanket.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, that's what usually happens with young quarterbacks who are going in for the first time. The tight ends and the running backs in the flat are the guys that are going to get the majority of the work. But so far, it just has not been that way. And like I said, although I don't necessarily think it's 100% his fault, I'm I'm almost fully done with Hawkinson. I think I'm going to bench him this week for John Smith. So
Yeah, exactly. And then let's go on to as well Brian Thomas Jr. Dealing with a wrist injury. He played week 2. I don't see much of a concern on Brian Thompson, but again, Brian Thompson, good one to watch out for.
yeah, he should be fine. I saw something about where he got like hit awkwardly in preseason. I don't know if you saw that, and he's been
Mm-hmm.
kind of like scared, maybe, or like he's looked like he's um kind of taking precautions when he's on the field now. So that's definitely something to watch out for because he's a second round pick this year. And if you're in a 14 man, you might have been the last pick of the first draft, and that's pretty high draft stock for a guy to, having maybe some mental issues right now on the field. But hopefully it's not the case.
No, hopefully it is not the case. He finishes the wide receiver 4 last year, so something that also could be in mind for a lot of people that drafted him so high.
Mhm.
Juwan Jennings, he is announced to have a day-to-day with his shoulder injury. He did play week 2, and he was actually the leading receiver for the 49ers. I think he's just going to be limited in practice, but I feel as if he's going to be able to suit up for the 49ers.
I think he caught a 40-yard touchdown, if I'm not mistaken,
He
from Mac
did.
Jones, who, by the way, speaking about a guy with career resurgence, Mac Jones looked phenomenal this past week. That was crazy to see. I think he had like 250 yards and 3 touchdowns or something like that. Absolutely bonkers. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's going to be something to look out for, Mac Jones resurgence. But I just
maybe.
I don't know if that's going to happen though.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk, he is expected to be back week 3 from hamstring injury. Obviously, Christian Kirk has been dealing with a hamstring injury all offseason. He was traded to the Texans. Texans, I'm going to be honest. They don't look good. They lost again. They should have won this past game. They lost. I had the Buccaneers winning anyways, but still, Texans does not look good. CJ Stroud looks a little not good as well.
No, he doesn't look good. It's kind of something to watch out for. If you took him, maybe you think he's gonna come back this year. So far, it hasn't been that way. And Christian Kirk, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if he's gonna be able to have an
Mm-hmm.
impact on this team. So
Yeah, exactly. You got any more news, notes from around the league?
don't think so.
No,
No.
no. I don't really have much else. All right, let's get into week 3 waiver wire quarterbacks. I'll start with my guy, and that's Daniel Jones, which I would not have expected to be talking about here. 34.2% owned, 22.8 points this past week. He is taking on Tennessee next week, which, again, Stafford just put up 18 points against Tennessee. He's currently the quarterback too. Trust him, I guess, until he makes you not trust him.
Yeah.
He's with a new team, and he's going to keep succeeding with this team. And I think, again, it could be this week he has a dud week, but again, until he shows you he can have a dud week, he might not show you a dud week for a couple weeks. But 20 plus points in back-to-back weeks, he is a guy that a lot of people didn't get in the waivers because he is named Daniel Jones. I think it's time to now go pick him up.
So if I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm like genuinely debating starting him this week in my league that I just picked him up in. I had Joe Burrow, so fortunately, I gotta figure that situation out for the next however many months. Caleb Williams is my backup. I'm not totally upset with that, but if Caleb Williams shows me a couple of bad weeks and Daniel Jones shows that his career resurgence isn't fake, then maybe I do have my, new number one quarterback after all and potential league winner. Who knows? Crazy to say that about Daniel Jones, but hey,
Crazy.
he's balled the last 2 weeks. And if, he balled against Denver, I would hope that he balls against Tennessee. But
if he doesn't ball, then don't trust him.
Yeah, right. I mean, just stash him. It doesn't hurt because he just had 2 great weeks. But that's
if he has another third week, could trade him. Could try to trade him for a team that needs a quarterback.
Another guy that I wouldn't mind stashing is my guy Aaron Rodgers, and he's only 33% owned, so he's out there. Kind of just had a dud week, at least in the stat sheet, but personally, I don't think it's going to tell the full story. I don't know how much of that game that you watched, but in the first quarter, I think it was it was definitely the first drive. Aaron Rodgers threw a gorgeous 50-yard ball downfield to Pat Freiermuth, and who would have known Pat Freiermuth, the guy that's, in my opinion, not great, can't catch a wide open dude. It was a beautiful football. He couldn't have placed it any better. 50 yards, falling down on the ground on the run, fading away. It was crazy. I thought we were seeing prime Green Bay Rodgers again. And he hit him right in the hands and he dropped it. And that was a big play because they ended up punting after that, I believe. So that was a big momentum change. They would have been at the 10-yard line, whatever. Then later in the game, a tipped pass by Calvin Austin results in a pick. So there's negative points that you really shouldn't have had either. I think that, the offense kind of failed him this past week. I'm still going to have faith in him after that great game one that he had. And this week he's playing New England, who gave up 24 points to Geno Smith and 27 to Tua. So
27 to 2 is just absurd. I did not expect to see 27 points for Tua.
Well, as long as Gonzalez is out, then who knows?
Yeah, and also if you watched Aaron Rodgers, 41 years old, he still scrambled out of the pocket and sent that deep shot.
Yeah, you saw that pass that I was talking about?
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah, it was a great pass. I don't know how he dropped it, but it was perfect.
To think that he can still scramble outside the pocket and still deliver that is just – it's great to see that he can still do what he did after his torn Achilles, but I will say this is a concern only because he doesn't have that great mobility. But again, if New England is out with Christian Gonzalez again, that is their star corner. I agree with you. You can't complain starting Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Let's go into the waiver wire running backs. Obviously, Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers are waiver wire ads of the week for quarterback, and of course, Jake Browning, a little mention. For the running backs, Gary, let's start us off with you.
Well, this is, again, I have to mention it every week. I don't care. It's the worst waiver wire position in fantasy, and it's not going to get better as we go on.
No.
But I will with Tyler Algier. I guess another just dart throw, but we're still early on in the season, and I guess there are guys that pop up every now and then that just get the possibility of showing production, and I guess Tyler Algier is one of those guys. I'm a Bijan guy. I like Bijan, and I don't think this guy has any room in this offense, but for some reason they like to use him. He scored last week against the Vikings. He's the only guy, I think, that scored a touchdown in that game. And the production was there, unlike in week one. However, even though there wasn't week one production, there was possibility for production. He's got 26 carries in 2 weeks behind Bijan Robinson. So I think at some point he's bound to get solid production. And he just put up 16 points last week because he scored. So,
yeah, I actually can't complain. I saw a lot of Tyler Algier out there, so I actually don't mind this. As we do say every week, the running backs are really bad. Even when Aaron Jones goes down, Jordan Mason is still a big handcuff. He's 84% owned, so you can't even talk about him. But Tyler Algier being able to score double-digit points, along with Bijan Robinson still there, I think Tyler Algier could be the next big handcuff because of the fact that if Bijan goes down, Algier is the next guy. And we saw him produce. We've seen him produce in the past. Yeah. And again, like you mentioned, 26 carries in 2 weeks is something that is good to see for a backup running back that can know if you need a deep flex kind of ad, he's the guy.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'll talk about my guy, and I swear every time with this guy's name, I can never understand how to pronounce it. But I'm going to take a guess. It's Baishal Tutin.
Sounds good.
Something sounds good to me too.
Sounds good.
I mean, first week since Tank Bixby was traded, we know Travis Etienne has had some type of resurgence this year, but Tutin is still, of course, the backup. He is the clear number 2 now with Tank gone, but he is getting some receiving work. He also was able to catch a touchdown in that. And we mentioned during training camp, during the show, that Liam Cohen could be doing this in a way where we could see Tutin come out and emerge as the number 1 back by the end of the season, like we saw with Rashad White and Bucky Irving, which stinks to see for ETN owners. But again, ETN did not look good last year, and the year before he did finish as a number 2 running back. Tutin could be the next man to step in as a Bucky Irvin role and take over. If you look at the stats between the two, ETN 14 for 71, and then Tutin 88 for 42. I mean, it's right around like a 60-40 type of split right now. Don't be surprised if it goes 50-50 at one point, maybe 60-40 going the opposite direction.
The only thing I don't like is the snap percentage, but then again, it's bound to go up. It did go up from week 1 to 2. Week 1, it was only 6%. This week, it was a quarter. So I'm sure it's going to go up again, especially with the departure of Tank Bigsby. So
yeah,
I can't really hate this pick again. There's not really any running backs there right now, and these two, in my opinion, are the 2 best guys. They're the 2 guys that really only put up like more than 5 points. So.
Which I mean, going through the running backs, I actually looked at Tutin and then I didn't look at him because I was trying to find someone else, and you just can't. You can't.
It is impossible.
It's horrendously bad. Tutin and Algier are waiver wire running backs. Let's go on to our wide receivers now. Gary, this was your wide receiver, so last week. And I really wanted to mention him, but I decided to go with Hollywood Brown because, I thought Hollywood Brown would do something. Didn't end up really being that much of a case. But Wan'Dale Robinson could be a league winner from the waivers. 26.3% owned, 28.2 points. Going up against Kansas City, who, again, doesn't have the greatest defense. He's currently wide receiver 8 so far. He caught 8 of his 10 targets, 142 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, you take the touchdown out, which again is always something I look at. You take the touchdown out, what do they really score? He still scored 22 points without that touchdown. Maybe 21 without the reception. But still, I mean, he's still putting up points back-to-back weeks. I think this guy's going to be a guy that we might not talk about next week, even though he's only 26% owned. He could be very close to that 70%, if not just over.
Yeah, he could be one of those guys that we see make that huge jump from 26 to right on the cusp of 70%. So maybe we still might be able to talk about him next week. But yeah, I mean, this is the guy that we talked about last year, right? And I mean, obviously I talked about him last week, as you mentioned, because I feel like he's going to have these weeks pop up every now and then. And that's what it is with waiver wire ads, is can they somehow find a way to be relatively consistent? And I feel like we've definitely seen a possibility of that with Wan'Dale Robinson. If he can get you 10 points a week and, give you that boom upside, then that's a great waiver wire to have. And, who knows? If he's able to put up more games like these and, mix in the consistency, then maybe I can 100% see him being a league winner.
Yeah, I picked him up, I think, just last second on Sunday, and I'm glad I picked him up, so now I don't have to go through the waiver headache trying to got him. Who's your guy? Because I'm very intrigued on your guy.
Are you? Well, it's a guy that I feel like people just happen to forget. Maybe it's because he's on the Saints. Maybe it's because he tore his ACL last year. I went with Rashid Shaheed. Now, he's 68% owned, so maybe he isn't as forgotten as I thought. But he's still out there, under 70% owned. He just had 15.2 points this past week. He caught a touchdown. Last year, before he tore his ACL in week 6, he was averaging 13.3 fantasy points a game, with scores of 15 plus fantasy points in 4 out of the 6 games. If that's not consistency, I don't know what is. Give me a guy that scores 15 plus points 67% of the time, all day, every day. Of course, that was only through the first 6 games of the season. But again, he tore his ACL, which completely changed everything. So, but so far he's done the same thing to start out this year. He's got 14 targets through 2 weeks, 7 a game, so there's solid possibility of production. And the thing that the Saints do with Shaheed is they give him a carry or two, like every game that he might pop off for a 20-yard touchdown, so you have that upside as well. I have him stashed in my Dynasty League just due to the fact of how good he was last year. So, yeah, if you have him too, then I'm sure you know how much of a sleeper this guy was last year. I definitely, for not 1 second, thought I was going to drop him in the offseason because I'm still clinging on to that upside that he showed me in those first 6 weeks of the season last year.
Yeah, I really like Shaheed. I've always liked him. I was a big Chris Olave fan, but of course he is not turned out after his injury to be the guy. And there was another guy on the Saints, No, it wasn't Devon Bailey. It was someone else. But let's just talk about real quick. Juwan Johnson also has been looking really good too.
Yeah.
But I like Shaheed. I like him a lot. I am actually shocked he is 68% owned because it wouldn't have come across me that if you told me he was 68% owned, I'd be like, nah. I think it'd be more like 45, 50% owned. Like half the leagues would have him. But the fact that Rashid Shaheed has 68% owned, he's going to be on the cusp of 70%. We probably definitely won't talk about him next week, but he is, I think, a priority to add this week because I think he is going to get you those consistency points that Gary was saying. 15 plus points, 67% of the time. It's all you want from your players. Right. You want consistency. Right. Exactly. If you have Derrick Henry scoring you 49 points and the next week scoring 2 points, I mean, you're going to still start Henry because of the name, but still, that's not what you want to say. Made me lose one of my
me too. Me too. I have him in Dynasty as well, and it was nice to see as a Browns fan, but we lost by 30, and it didn't result in anything. So it was like, nice. My team got blown out, and I lose in Fantasy because he is just owned.
You mentioned that you guys would probably get blown out too.
Yeah, it was either. Well, that's the case with us with the Ravens. It's either we get blown out or we lose, we get blown out or we win, which is just two total opposite outcomes. But you can bet that next time we play them, I will be taking the Browns money line just because it'll be like plus 500, and they'll probably pull off some miracle.
The saddest thing is I wasn't able to watch the game. I think it was I don't know if it was a 1 p.m. slated game or it was late, towards the later one. Yeah, I was sleeping at that point. But I go on to look at the score and I'm like, wow, this is such a high scoring game. Derrick Henry probably had 4 touchdowns or something. No, dud.
Maybe absolutely 4 yards.
Yeah, honestly, it was so bad. I was like, oh man. But I think Rashid Shaheed, Wan'Dale Robinson, definitely top wide receiver waiver wire ads of the week. Let's go on to our tight ends. And Gary, let's start with your guy since we were in Cleveland already.
So, and I mean, I threw something in here that I would have taken Juwan Johnson had I not picked the Saints player already. So I just kind of want to go away from, taking 2 guys on the same team. So you will talk about your guy in a second, but I'm just going to kind of show your hand a little bit. You picked your guy last week, so you know what? I'll stick with my guy from last week, and that just so happens to be Harold Fannin. Now, he was my guy last week too, like I just said, and I think he's still a top guy. He's coming in at tight end 8 on the year. Of course, we're only through 2 weeks, not a big sample size, but he's got 14 targets in those 2 weeks. And again, like I said with Shaheed, it's the exact same stat. There's solid possibility of production, and I'm a big believer. And if there are those opportunities, production is going to come. And he's still been able to produce. He had 9 points last week. And next week, he's got a favorable matchup against Green Bay, who has a great defense. But in the small sample size that we've gotten so far, they're going to the fifth most fantasy points to tight ends. The Browns will be down all game, so they'll be throwing the ball. And Fannin looks like one of Joe Flacco's favorite targets. So I said it last week. I think him and Njoku can coexist. And if they can't, I think it's going to be Njoku that really takes the hit, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, which is crazy to say because Njoku did look good last year, but I think we know Joe Flacco. We know he likes to target his tight ends, and Harold Fannin just is the guy this year. And I mean, again, he's 66% owned. You mentioned not mentioning Juwan Johnson. I will mention him also real quick. He is the number 2 tight end right now in fantasy. He has, like Gary said, Rashid Shaheed, the consistency of 15 plus points. Guess what? He's got 15 plus points back-to-back weeks. He did go up from 5% owned to 51% owned last week to this week. I'm expecting that to be over 70% this week as well. He's 51% owned. I'm expecting 20-30% of the leagues are going to add him who have not added him yet. But again, if you can't get Juwan Johnson, I think Harold Fannin is the next man to go after. If it's not my guy. I do like my guy, and that's just basically because of the fact he is in a high-powered offense over yours. But again,
for sure.
I don't hate the pick. I actually did look at Harold Fannin to talk about, but I said, I think Gary's going to talk about him again, probably. Yeah. So turns out you did. Probably because a little biased because he's a Browns fan, but
okay, hey, here we go. I knew it.
Here we go. I'll talk about my guy real quick, and that is Zach Ertz. I mentioned him again last week. Like Gary said, we're sticking with our same tight ends. He's a guy that I, again, drafted so many times and I targeted in redraft leagues. He was actually my only tight end I drafted in redraft leagues. And if you got him and he was your number 2 tight end, well, now you have 2 tight ends, so you might want to trade one, especially because they're high value right now. But again, I mean, you probably got him in the 13th, 14th round of redraft leagues. He's not going anywhere on this offense. Debo's there. That was the biggest concern, that Zach Ertz was going to take the hit. He didn't take the hit as much as people thought he would because he still had 8 targets, caught 6 of them, and he went 64 yards, and he scored. So he still had another solid week, 18.4 fantasy points, 52.2% owned, going on against the Raiders. I mean, the Raiders, again, back and forth with the defense. Defense didn't look all that great, but I'm still going with Zach Ertz. I think he's going to be one of the top guys. I think if you had to stat the tight ends on who to take, it'd be Juwan Johnson, Zach Ertz, Harold Fannin as the top 3 guys in the tight end category.
Yeah, 100%. It's not close. I can't knock the pick at all. He was one of the guys that I mentioned multiple times last year, and I just said that Jaden Daniels just loves throwing him. So I'm all for this pick until he has a stretch where he puts up like 3 points back-to-back games, which I don't know if I see happening, at least not for a while. I'm pretty high on Ertz also.
Yeah. Zach Ertz, Harold Fannin, our 2 fantasy waiver wire tight ends. And now it's time to get into the good stuff that Gary definitely likes to talk about. Thursday night football predictions. This week is an AFC East rivalry taking on the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins. The over-under is 49.5 fantasy points. We don't have to talk about last week, right? How last week went.
Well, I mean, we mentioned it on Sunday. If you were there, you saw it. But yeah. I think we could say it again, what happened for the people that didn't get to see it.
I took the Commanders. I took the under, I believe. And yes. Gary took the over and took the Packers. And if you watch the story of Thursday Night Football, you know what happened. Gary is now in first place on the predictions. He is, in fact, 4-0 on over-under and predictions. I'm 2-2 on Thursday Night Football. Gary, who are you picking here? Taking Miami? No? Tua?
Is anybody taking Miami?
Honestly, maybe. Bills right now, line is 12.5.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to take Buffalo, but I guess with the score prediction that I have that fits the bill for Miami to cover, I'm going to say Buffalo was 33-24. I expect a very score heavy game. Buffalo's offense is great. Their defense, really not so much. Miami's offense, you could say what you want, but they showed flashes this past week, like I said. I mentioned that earlier. And their defense is bad, like really, really bad. So, over-under is only at 49.5. I could see this soaring over 50.
Soaring over 50. All right. So you're taking the Bills. Do I want to go opposite with you?
Bad idea.
It is an AFC East showdown. It is at home in Miami. I am taking the under, in fact.
Okay.
On this. I'm going again, trying to take the under. We'll see if it pays out. I do think it's going to be a one-score game. Miami is in favor with the spread, but the Bills win it 28-21. 49.5 is the spread. I have 49 points right on the cusp.
Okay.
Right on the cusp. So if it's going to be another one that over-under is very tough to predict.
That's what it was last week, right? I mean,
yeah.
I was just about right on the money with that, I believe.
Yeah. You were just on the money.
If I just so happened to bring that up.
You were like, I think 1 or 2 points away.
Yeah, I think I said it was 27-20 or something like that. And it ended up being
27-18
or something like that. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I mean, the lines have actually been like really tight recently.
Really tight.
Believe me, I've had some bad beats. So,
are you betting anything on Thursday Night Football?
I don't know if I'm going to, but if I do, it'll definitely be the over.
Okay, where are you betting on by any chance?
100% Underdog.
Make sure you use that code SportsTimeHQ on Underdog Fantasy. They're going to match first deposit up to $1,000. Gary and I both taking the Bills to win on Thursday Night Football. He's taking the over. I'm taking the under. Again, over-under has been a hard one to predict. But again, hopefully I will go 2-0 and he'll go 1-1 this week. We'll see. Thank you, everyone, again, for watching this great episode. Again, make sure to like and subscribe all over our YouTube. We're here every single week, 2 times a week. This is the first time we're doing it during the season where it's 2 times a week. We got ourselves Tuesday every single week at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Not only that, we also have it as well on Sundays for your starts and sits questions and any type of questions you may have for your Sunday showdown at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Again, if you haven't done so already, go to TrophySmack.com/SportsTimeHQ. And again, TrophySmack, not only that, Underdog Fantasy, SportsTimeHQ, use that code. They're going to match first deposit up to $1,000. September 21st, 10 a.m. is our next show. Be there or just be square, whatever you want to be. But again, I was joined by my great co-host, Gary. Go follow him all over social media at GDPicks. I'm Fernando. I'm your host, SportsTimeHQ, and we'll see you all on the 21st.